in the community, and those who are in charge now eat all the money. See, we have a lot of problems when it comes to this community development.
Yes, I will not call it community development for those cases where people squander money and the rest. They had a hidden agenda, which they were masking it as community development. No, they had a hidden agenda for which they were raising the money for. And that is not community development. That is community destruction. You are destroying the community instead. So I think that it's not everybody that can spearhead community development, because it requires a lot of honesty, trust, integrity, and so on to be able to reach out to communities. A lot of people have used bad faith to frustrate little projects in communities, and today they have hardened the hearts of people. People don't want to listen again to anything called community development, because bad examples have gone ahead to spoil the terrain. And today when you want to talk, people say no. If you want to do it, let them come and do it. They will not be involved because they think that you two have come to frustrate them. And so also, there are bad examples in community, but that should not stop a community from coming together. If there are bad examples that have come up, at least good examples should rather come on now and be able to do that which is good, so that community should have that which they are supposed to have. I still wish to say again that the people to talk about community want to talk about.
Okay, thank you. We've mentioned a lot of things done by Werato. I just wish to ask you, like, at least you are there at the front line.
Yes.
Why carry such a body?
I know, right? Very, very important question. Why carry such a burden? A few years ago, I had the opportunity to live abroad. And after staying abroad for some time, I asked myself the question, why am I falling bush? Why are we falling bush? And one of the most frustrating things for me, I always quote this example, was to try to grow a plant, and I had to struggle to get that plant to grow. And then I was asking myself, in Boya, I just have to dig soil and put corn, and then it comes out. And then, but who put this deception in us that we are a third world nation because we have been labeled, because we have been made to see ourselves as victims. Therefore, we don't value the things we have. And instead of valuing what we actually possess and what we have in this nation. And I asked myself the question, why am I here to study? I'm here to study because somebody took the lead to develop their own nation. And they did not wait for the government, and those are some of the things I observed. I realized that people would take responsibility. I will go, for instance, in church, and things will drop in front of the church, and they have a culture where they're not waiting for somebody to tell them to do something. They will just pick it up. And people will just take responsibility for things. And I started understanding, as well as a Christian, when I became a Christian, I understood that, God is not just waiting for us to lift up holy hands in church and be happy that, yes, oh, hallelujah, praise the Lord, God has blessed me, blessed my family, blessed my this. But it's not that. God is waiting for us to take responsibility in nations and to build nations. So for me, it became bigger than just myself, me and I. I started thinking that I am the hope of my nation. And my call and my vision was to provoke more people in Africa to start thinking like that. Which is why I took that step and I said, I'm going to spend and dedicate the rest of my life to encourage my fellow people who are in diaspora, the people who are around me. I'm not going to focus on the government. I'm going to focus on my sphere of influence and realize that we can start change within ourselves. And so that is why I started initiatives like the Royalty Business Breakfast, where I used to encourage young people with everything Mr. Msoko is talking about to start up businesses, to start something, to do something. And I teach entrepreneurship in schools as well. So anything that had to deal with empowering young people to rise up and take responsibility were things that were interesting to me. Then after that, I felt, hey, all these things we're doing small things in different areas. I will adopt a community. I'll go to Bolifamba and I'll take charge of Bolifamba. Naturally, I'm not from Bolifamba. I'm from the Northwest region. So people are like, but why Bolifamba? It doesn't concern you. It's not your village. But I also wanted to pass across a message that developing a community does not necessarily mean that I need to come out of that community. It means that I am a citizen of heaven. And so wherever I find myself, I am a part of that community and I can take responsibility. And I took upon myself to go and meet the chief and tell him that, hey, I have this project for your community and I need to do this in your community. Wow. And he gave me permission to do it. He introduced me to the council, to the traditional councillors, and gave me a point of contact. And I meet them all the time and I'm like, this is what we want to do now. Now we want to start a daycare. Now we want to start a factory to produce parts. Now we want to train young people with entrepreneurship skills. We want to take 20 young people, go to Bamenda, do a transformation leadership academy with them, and equip them with the skills so that they too can become transformative agents. And it's like, okay, yes. Then I'm like, okay, now we need to think about, Izakam is no longer coming to the community because the crisis and all of that, they're afraid of Bolifamba. Are we going to sit down and continue to complain that what happened with our debt? We are throwing it in the river, it's affecting the next person down the road. We are going to come and sit down and look for solutions by ourselves, which is why we are doing this Impact Week. This Impact Week is for all Bolifamba to arise and realize that each and every one of us has a role to play. That's why it has different aspects. One of the aspects is going to be a hackathon. We have been working on solutions on waste management solutions in Bolifamba since January. And that has engaged. We've put an 8-man committee from the different quarters. Bolifamba has 14 quarters. So we're going to be engaging. We realize that they have hygiene and sanitation committee within those communities. And, you know, sometimes one thing we realize in Bolifamba is that these structures are in place, but the people are just not motivated. And I've come to realize that maybe I'm just the motivation. And I'm taking the responsibility. I'm not looking at it being that I'm not part of this community. I'm not from here. My name is Ngum. What are you doing? I'm not Limunga. What am I doing here? But I realized that, hey, guess what? I'm going to do it in the Limunga's land. And if it works there, I'm going to take it to train the bees and the loops, to also do the same thing in the Northwest region, right? So it's our nation. Wherever it is we find ourselves, Northwest, Southwest, we are one people. So wherever you find yourself, where you're working, that is where it begins. Start initiating change in that place where you are. So that was my awakening, and that is why you ask the question, what's my business? You know, why take on the burden? I take on the burden because I'm a citizen of the universe, and God put me here for a purpose, and this is the way that I can serve my universe.
Wow. That's good. Thank you very much. I'm coming to you now, Godswill. I want us to go detailedly. You mentioned it about passively, the Transformative Impact Week. I want you to tell us, what is this all about?
Oh, thank you so much. It is the main thing we're doing now, and it's supposed to run from April 9th to 13th, which is in about a week's time. We're going to commence. The Impact Week, like Madam Doris was trying to elaborate, is our drive to really present to Bolifamba that this thing of development, this transformation, this change we want to see is not coming from anywhere. We have the solutions, we have the skills, we are the ones who know what's wrong with our community. It's us that can fix it. And so we are going through this Impact Week. We want to really engage the community to be able to, one, live together. Like I said before, Bolifamba is a hard-hit area. For many international organizations, it is a red zone. They don't pass there. And it has a high influx of IDPs. People also ran away from my 16 before I've come back. They call them returnees. Returnees, IDPs, and host community, people who never left. They look like, when I look at them, all of them look the same, but they have differences, challenges that affect living together. Sometimes they'll tell that you be graphic, you do it for a year. Sometimes you just be an IDP, they'll refuse to give you land to work. Your house rent will suddenly be more than the other person's own. These little things that exist within the community that they're not obvious. You'll not see people fighting on the road, but those things are there. So the idea is to bring these people together, to play, to clean the streets, to think about their problems and find solutions. In that way, they stop seeing IDP, they start seeing Mamilo. They stop seeing a returnee, they start seeing party that is down the road. And these people, they start seeing them as community members and actors of change. So we're really trying to build social cohesion through the Impact Week. Secondly, we're also looking at the issue of period poverty. Period poverty is a situation where women particularly are unable to access menstrual hygiene and menstrual health accessories. And it's very common in Bolifamba, given the fact that it's a rural environment, economic activity is low, and really focusing on menstrual hygiene for girls is not really a priority. People are trying to eat. So that is a real problem in their community. And so we're trying to also build that kind of awakening. And like Madam Doris said, we run a small social enterprise called Rhino, which is focused on producing washable parts. You know, to buy a part is 700 francs, 300. You use it and throw it, and it's done. If you want to calculate that amount of money you spend over the course of 2 years, you see that that's a lot of money. but these parts are usable. So we're trying to really engage these communities to be part of this, using these usable parts, and train them that menstrual hygiene, it does not only affect the woman's health, it affects herself, her sense of dignity. And a woman who is not proud, who is not strong to walk around as a woman, cannot walk out and say, hey, pick that paper, because her herself, she does not feel dignified or empowered. So it's this very thing that's little, but it's very big for the community. And so social cohesion, menstrual hygiene, and waste management, we like to focus on the youth, because like I said before, youths are the most everywhere in this country. They are way more than the old people.
Yes.
And if they wait for old people eventually die and leave us, and then we become the old people and the youth will start waiting for us. So we really want to engage the youth to clean their community. And we're not talking about moving around the road and picking papers and putting bins, but we're looking at sustainable solutions. And like I said before, we cannot just appear and say, oh, this is what we're going to do. We want to say, okay, Bolifamba youth, the quarter is dirty. What do we do? And so we're bringing these youth together, and what she passively mentioned, a hackathon, which is an exercise where these people break down a problem and provide solutions. And through this week, we're trying to identify sustainable solutions to waste management within the community. So, to summarize, those are the main things we're looking at. We also have a community learning through our library. We are trying to build to get books in. And so please, if you have books, gently use books, new books you can always bring to the library, such that a child who cannot buy textbook in school can just come to the library, read, and go home. Such that these are the little things that we do. It's not, development is not the big thing. It's just small things. By the time a child can access the textbook, that child is reading that textbook and doing the assignment. It's not in the road looking for the next drugs to become the next junkie in the quarter. He's studying. So these are the things we're looking at to be able to really drive this development and transformation within the Bolifamba community. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Emeka, looking at the program, they said it's starting on the 9th of April to the 14th of April. Is it going to be in such a way that all the people who lives in my 16 Bolifamba are going to come somewhere, you sit for this 1 week and talking to them? And how possible is that, given the fact that most of them will have one or two activities that they're doing, farmers, I'm sure?
Okay, thank you. So there are different activities that will be running. I think on the 9th, we have a Transformation Leadership Academy. We're going to be impacting the lives of 50 young people in the Bolifamba community. These are prefects from the schools in the Bolifamba community. So we want to start modeling what leadership is using the prefects in the schools in Bolifamba. So every day has its own activity. On Wednesday, we'll be running a menstrual hygiene campaign in the communities. We choose this period specifically because children are on holidays, so we know that we'll meet them in the community. And on Thursday, of course, we also have the hackathon. So each day has its own activity. And the activity that will really bring the people on a common ground is the play day. There's the play day. There's also the talent exhibition. We have a talent exhibition, so we'll have people come and you exhibit your talent. You know, you have judges right there. And then now we are going to crown it on a Friday with a play day. So there are different games, all the traditional games. There's going to be a football game as well. The different communities are playing against each other. And then we also have what we call the community Njanga rice. That one is also going to bring people together. So we want them to share a common meal right on the field. We'll prepare it right on the ground.
People can just come and eat, right?
You can come and eat. Yeah, so we're very intentional about every activity. We want to make sure that there's something they can gather around, there's something they can play around and forget about who you really are. This is where you're coming from. I'm the person in the Bolifamba community, you are just coming. So people are eating, they're happy. They're playing, they're jumping, they're happy. So yeah, you're forming a football team. Who really cares if you're IDP or returnee? All we want is a team. So those are the different strategies we're using. And then on a Saturday, we are going to have an award ceremony. The community is also going to gather around that. And after that, we are going to crown it with a worship session in the evening. So
you know, Doris, this is wonderful. You know, I don't know, I feel as she's talking, it's like I'm having these goosebumps all over my body. It's really, really a beautiful initiative. I'm coming to you, Mr. Amos, okay? You see somebody going into a community, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you said you go to Bolifamba and take over to bring about development, going to a community and trying to bringing development in that community. There are two things I want us to look at. Her initiative, which is very good, but now is because the chief of my 16th Bolifamba is a very nice person. He's a dynamic person who loves development. But you agree with me that we have communities that will not accept such a thing. They may look at it differently as somebody wants to come and take their position. What do you have to say to such community leaders?
I think it's difficult to find such persons there because everybody wish to have his community developed today, except that the person coming is a political figure of another party which they may see as a threat. But if it's a neutral person who is not into anything and just wish to help a certain community, nobody can refuse. You know, there's always political conflicts. That's where the problem is from. But if somebody is coming to help a community with no secondary motive, but the motive is to reach out to this community, to help this community, I don't think a chief or somebody who is a leader or quarter head wish to refuse such a person. Everybody wants to see their community developed, the lives of their people, the livelihood of their people ameliorated and improved upon. And what I just wish to say is that those type of mentality are mostly politically inclined, where somebody will not want another political figure to probably, in quote, come and gain popularity in a place where he is campaigning and wishing to get votes and things like that. But from a neutral perspective and from a developmental perspective, nobody under his normal senses will see somebody who have come to bring development. They say you don't want the person. That type of mentality is vanishing. And even if the person is from another political affiliation, if you have a nationalist mindset, you have a mindset of nation building and nation development, then you should still be happy that somebody, a Cameroonian, is coming to add his voice and to make sure that a community is developed. And let me say this, many politicians miss it, because we should not mix politics with community development. Community development is for the people. Politics is your personal thing. It's not really for the people, because not everybody likes politics. But everybody loves a good environment, an environment that is healthy. Everybody loves community development so that they should have a better life. But politics has its own place, and many people come and mix it up and hinder progress of certain communities. So what I'm just trying to say here is that that mindset, I think, has died long ago. The mindset of people who do not want to see development.
Mr. Musoke, we have leaders who are not much concerned with community members. They are concerned more with themselves. We have such leaders.
Yes, those are not leaders. I'd explain it on this platform. Those are politicians. I explained this so many times. Leaders are different from politicians. So somebody who has a leadership mindset can never fight against development. Such a figure is a political figure, and he has his motive. And one of them might not be development, is just to gain political prowess and be voted again into power. But leaders, people who are leaders, are people that brings development, are people that bring a change, are people that pushes community to go ahead, and they want to see the welfare of humans, not mixing it with politics. Yes, so such persons should be very careful. And also, I also distinguish on board here once about a leader and a true leader. These are two different type of people. There are leaders and there are true leaders. Somebody can be a leader but not a true leader. But a true leader is a leader. Yeah. for law to end them.
All right, thank you. Let's look at the acceptance rate of the people of Bolifamba. How are they accepting this initiative?
It's not always easy, because even within the community there are people who still suspect you. Even though you are not a political figure or everything, you realize that people are still very, very suspicious. But what our success has really been because of the Dignity Clubs, our approach. Our approach has been the key to success. So, in the Dignity Club, that approach that we have, it makes it inclusive. And Gang said something, that every initiative we've had in Bolifamba is not something that has come out of our heads. It's something that has been initiated by the community. And we are really expectant, because in this play day, this impact week, we know that after this, there are a lot more solutions that will come up. Because, during the hackathon, it's for us to sit down and not just say, okay, this is how you should clean your community. No, it's like, how do we do it? So when you bring people together, I believe that involvement leads to commitment. When people are involved in something, they realize that you're not just coming to impose something on them. Their voice is heard. And then now, they are the ones doing it. They are the ones who are bringing forth this initiative. I remember we started this cleanup thing. It was just like a joke. And we brought the quarter heads together and said, okay, this is what we have been doing in the community. Now we want to do something together. What do you people propose? And then all of them came up with the idea of a cleanup, competition. So there's going to be that competition where all the 14 quarters are competing for which quarter is the cleanest quarter. And they decided, we said, no, we're not going to tell you what to do. So they decided that they were going to elect an 8-man committee that is going to be the judges, that who will be the judges. So this 8-man committee now are the ones who have set up their evaluation criteria. We are just on the background facilitating and enabling, giving them an environment to have meetings and things like that. So we see our role more as facilitators than, we are not really the actors. We are just facilitating. We come and provoke a little bit, and then we sit back and wait for them to initiate and come up with solutions. Then we come in and coordinate so that we can arrange it, and we bring in our expertise. And our team are very, very, they are called for this and they have studied this. Some Stokos say you don't do something where you've not studied. Ngangia is actually pursuing a master's in development. Wow. And that's a path that he has been working on for a very long time. Suru here has a master's in gender studies. So it's not just something that we are doing that we just came out of the blues, but we have competent and qualified people. Gang has the expertise in development. So when we come in and we bring in the ideas, he has the capacity to be able to structure it. We work a lot with tech experts as well. This is a tech age. So we cannot bring in waste management solutions without bringing in the tech experts. So we are working in collaboration with Jongo Hub. That is an incubation hub, a social innovation hub here in Boya. And they are the ones who are going to be facilitating this workshop now to help us. We have other think tanks like the Okadians in Douala who will also be coming to participate with us. So, when a community sees that it is an involvement, it's all hands on deck, they can't reject it, because if they reject, they're rejecting themselves. So it is us, we're just facilitators, and we are engaging all community members. We engage, which is why we reached out to Mr. Msoko, knowing his passion about development, and we're like, come join us in Bolifamba. We know the things you're doing. And we have Blue Moon Consulting and outsourcing, who are the ones managing the project. So we have different organizations that are partnering with us. We have several organizations. Safe Heavens is coming in. We have Rema Restauranto. We're talking about Janga Rice. We can't do it without people and experts like that. Zoe Communication, Magiano Foundation, they focus on boys. So we are bringing all hands on deck and involving other organizations. That's really the dream for the Bolifamba Community Transformation Project. How do we come together with all our skills and work within one community to create lasting solutions? So Lead from the Heart is going to be training the young people on the prefects on leadership. So all hands on deck is not our thing, it's their thing. By the time the youths leave, by the time the prefects finish, they will come up with solutions that they will implement in their schools. So we'll not tell them what to do in their schools, but they will start looking at initiatives on how they can start initiating development within their own schools, with their school settings. So that's how we are using these initiatives to be able to involve the whole community. So we're not leaving nobody out. That's why there will be CISO, there will be dodging. So you can play any game, you can be a part of it any way you know how. So that's really I think that has been our secret.
All right, God's will, Bolifamba is a big community, and I know this is one way of sensitizing the public about the upcoming events, the Impact Week. And are there other means? Are the people aware? Have you gone right down to the grassroots that from the 9th they know that this activity is going on?
I'll say yes, because like we have been reiterating here, our approach to community development is people-centered. We work through the people. We have been in Bolifamba since 2015, doing a lot of work there. So by now we have had a vast network of people within the community that we work with, and especially the scholars we work with, people, children we send to school in Bolifamba. Different activities, like Cyril was mentioning, have different participants, and we have met these different participants with different strategies. For the talent exhibition, we had handbills that were printed and shared out with to the pupils, the scholars, they shared in the community. We have posters we have printed. This morning I was coming to work, there was a small crowd in front of the office reading the poster I've put there and seeing how they could participate. So yes, we have the community sanitation committees that we have been working with since January. These are regular folks in the communities, nobody of any, or just a regular person moving around part of that community. And so these people have been already spreading the word since January, February, March up to now, and there's a lot of people that are already interested. Even the neighboring Bwanda and Kombo, they are also highly sensitized already about the Impact Week, and we're expecting them, they should prepare their team and come and play in the games that are going to be there. So yes, I think the regular person on the road knows that the Impact Week is coming up, and I think that this week we are going to start experiencing the Impact Week fever. People will be excited.
Thank you. All right, Emelda, when I hear, or I believe so many people, when they hear of royalty, well, what first of all comes into their head is menstrual hygiene. Okay, so I want you to talk about this point that I'm saying, promoting menstrual education and menstrual health. How is it going to look like during this week, that Impact Week?
Okay, so during the Impact Week, we are actually targeting 3 communities, as Gang mentioned. That's Bolifamba, Bwanda, and Kombo. So we've already had sensitization and mobilization going on in the communities. We have been identifying girls who cannot access menstrual hygiene kits. So that mobilization is already going on in the communities. So what we'll do is that for 2 days, we'll have what we call menstrual hygiene campaign, or a dignity campaign, and during that campaign we carry out health talks about menstruation. What is it all about? When do you experience it? How should you manage yourself when you're experiencing your period? So when we go into the communities, we bring on board everybody, because all these people, they are very, very important, the mothers, the fathers, the boys, because it's not just about the girl experiencing the period, it's about targeting the taboos and the myths that surround that topic. We want to ensure that girls experience their periods with dignity. They are not afraid, they're not shy that something bad is happening to me or something not acceptable is happening to me. So our campaign strategy, we use poetry, we use dance, we use different means to send across our messages to the parents that are there, to the boys that are there, and also to the girls. And part of our activities will be the distribution of washable pads, which is produced by Rhino Cameroon, a social enterprise created by Royalty World. We're also going to be distributing menstrual hygiene kits to these girls. So yeah, we'll be in Bolifamba, a campaign there, a campaign in Kombo, and a campaign in Bwanda. Then we'll have a common distribution ground.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Masoke, we have, how can I put it? We also have other non-governmental organizations out there. That's what we are expecting them, what the population